Have you ever stopped and wondered why we're so drawn to things that honestly should probably terrify us? Why a raging ocean or a massive towering mountain range can fill us with this weird sense of delight? Well, today we're diving into two really powerful feelings that shape how we see the world, the sublime and the beautiful.
Right. Think about it for a sec. Why is it that a perfectly manicured garden gives us this feeling of calm pleasure, but a huge swirling thunderstorm brings out something completely different? It's that mix of fear, awe, and maybe even a little exhilaration. I mean, they're both just nature, right? But they hit us in totally different ways.
So it turns out there was this thinker, way back in the 18th century, who gave us this brilliant way of understanding this exact question. He argued that these aren't just random, jumbled emotions. Nope. They're two distinct and often opposite categories that explain our deepest responses to the world around us.
And here he is. Let's meet the guy who gave us this whole framework, Edmund Burke. Now, before he was famous for all his political writing, he wrote this hugely influential book on aesthetics. In it, he just systematically broke down these two incredibly powerful experiences.
Okay, so at its core, Burke's whole argument is basically this. The beautiful is what we love. It's all about pleasure, calm, social connection, that kind of thing. The sublime, though, that's what astonishes us. It's rooted in feelings of awe and, yeah, even terror that can just completely overwhelm our senses. So let's break down the first one.
So Burke connected the beautiful with our, quote, social passions. It's that feeling you get from things that inspire affection and tenderness. It's not some shocking or overwhelming emotion, not at all. It's gentle and it's pleasing.
And what's really fascinating is just how specific Burke gets. He literally lays out the ingredients for beauty. He says beautiful things are generally kind of small. They're surfaces, they're smooth, they're polished, not rough at all. And they have this quality of lightness and delicacy with really clear symmetry and proportion. Think of a songbird or a flower or a calm little stream.
But then we have its total opposite. The sublime isn't about gentle pleasure. It's about being completely captivated by something that could, in any other context, be really, really dangerous. It's this incredible paradox of finding delight in what we should fear.
For Burke, the sublime is actually the most powerful emotion we are capable of experiencing. And where does it come from? Well, he argues that anything at all that can spark ideas of pain and danger can be a source of the sublime.
And this quote just gets right to the heart of it. The key ingredient is terror. Now, not necessarily being in terror, but experiencing something that operates in a way that's like terror. It's a feeling that just stops you in your tracks and demands every bit of your attention.
So, how in the world can terror be delightful? This is the most brilliant part of his whole theory. We get to experience this delightful horror because we are not actually in danger. We're watching that huge storm from behind a window. We're not caught out in it. And that safety, that's what allows the terror to transform into this thrilling, awe-inspiring experience.
Okay, so if terror is the main ingredient, what are the specific things or circumstances that cook up this feeling? Well, Burke identified several key sources.
He basically gives us a whole menu of sublime triggers, things like overwhelming power, obscurity that kind of hides what's really going on, immense vastness, the idea of infinity, and of course darkness and deep solitude. Let's just zoom in on a couple of these.
Burke argues that obscurity, not being able to see things clearly, is absolutely essential to making something truly terrible, and because of that, sublime. When we can't quite make something out, it's shrouded in mist or it's in the dark or just confused, our imagination takes over. And let's be honest, what we imagine is often way more frightening than reality.
And this illustrates his point perfectly. A clear, well-defined monster might be scary, sure, but a vague, shadowy figure in the distance, that's way more terrifying because it gets the imagination going. Clarity, Burke says, can actually weaken our emotional response. The unknown is always, always more powerful.
Another huge one is power. We're talking immense, untamable power. And Burke uses this fantastic example. An ox has incredible strength, right? But it's useful, it's tame, so it's not sublime. A wild bull, on the other hand, has this dangerous, uncontrollable strength. And that untamed power, that's sublime, because it reminds us of just how fragile we are.
So what becomes really, really clear is that these two ideas are in direct opposition to each other. They're not just different flavors of the same thing. They're built on completely conflicting principles. Let's just look at them side by side.
I mean, just look at how cleanly they contrast. The beautiful is small, the sublime is vast. The beautiful is smooth and polished. The sublime is rugged and rough. The beautiful is found in light and delicacy, while the sublime, it thrives in darkness and gloom. One is all about pleasure and love, and the other is founded on pain, terror, and pure astonishment.
And all of this brings us to one final thought. Burke was writing about a world that was still full of mystery and darkness and untamed nature. But in our modern world, a world that's so often defined by high-definition clarity, perfect digital images, and this desire to smooth over every single rough edge, have we accidentally engineered that obscurity, that delightful terror, right out of our lives? It really makes you wonder, are we missing out on the strongest emotion the mind is capable of feeling?